Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf. Menachos Daf Samach Gimel. We begin at the Mishnah right on top. Back to the various types of Menachos. We know there are 5 types. One is called soiles, machvas. That's the one that's fried in a machvas frying pan, as we're going to see in a minute. We have the marcheshes, a different type of fry. Then we have something called ma'afei tanur, which is sort of an umbrella label encompassing two subsets. One is called chalais, one is rikikin. The chalais have oil within them, the rikikin have the oil smeared on top of them after baking. So in this Mishnah we're going to discuss the difference between the machvas and the marcheshes. In the next Mishnah we're going to discuss the ma'afei tanur. Says the Mishnah, Eimer harei lai b'machvas. So in contrast to a minchas hasoiles, which is not fried, this one's going to be fried. And he's promising, he's committing, he's pledging to a machvas. Lo yavi b'marcheshes. He must bring a machvas. He can't switch it to marcheshes, even though they're similar in type. But each one is distinct and is treated, separately. On the other hand, if he commits to a marcheshes, he says, I'm going to bring b'marcheshes. Lo yavi b'machvas. He can't do the machvas. What's the difference? Ma bein machvas marcheshes. What's the practical difference between the two? There it is like this. Marcheshes yeshla kisui. So minchas marcheshes is processed in a frying pan, which has a cover. It's covered, so it retains its moisture and it's more of a oily type of consistency. Machvas eino kisui, as opposed to a machvas, which is exposed. It's open and has no cover. Divrei Rabbi Saglili, that's his opinion. So he learns it's simply a difference of open or closed. Rabbi Chanina ben Gamliel, Rabbi Chanina disagrees. He says, actually, it's a totally different configuration. A marcheshes is done in a deep frying pan, amuka, it's a deeper pan. Because it's deep fried, the material within it is reichesh. Rashi says reichesh means like a crawling creature, remes, which is translated as rachshin in the Targum. So it's moving around, it's more oily, it's as opposed to the machvas, that's tzafa. Rashi says tzafa means it's not a deep frying pan, it's more of a shallow frying pan, in which case it dehydrates, right? It gets firmer. So the material within it is more firm, is harder, is less hydrated. Okay, so we have two definitions. According to Rabbi Saglili, it's about covered or uncovered. According to Rabbi Chanina ben Gamliel, deep fried or regular fried. My time with Rabbi Si, where does Rabbi Si get this definition? The marcheshes means covered and concealed versus machvas, which is open and exposed. Ilay marcheshes. Is it because the word marcheshes indicates that the mincha is coming to accommodate the asi, it's coming archush alev to accommodate improprieties that stem from the heart, improper thoughts or notions. As we find in the pasuk, rachash, libi davar toiv. So the heart is reichesh. It generates these concealed internal, forces, and that's what the marcheshes is coming to be mechaper on, improper thoughts, and therefore it makes sense that marcheshes means it's covered, concealed, and it's coming to accommodate something which is covered and concealed. On the other hand, the machvas is open and exposed, because machvas the aser machbuya pet, it's coming to accommodate, to atone for openness, expressions, verbalizations. As people call speaking manbach nebuchi, he expressed it, he verbalized it, so we see manbach nebuchi and machvas are similar terms. Hence, machvas is an exposed process. We can find psukim that go the other way around. Perhaps machvas means a covered pan. The asya amach buya lev is coming to accommodate for the hiddenness in the heart. As we find the pasuk that this lashon refers to something hidden. Yaakov Avinu was chastised by Lavan HaRasha. Why'd you sneak away? Nachbeisa, Rashi says tmuna, hidden. He did it in a concealed, hidden way. So perhaps machvas is coming to atone for concealment, for improper concealed thoughts. Marcheshes, the as aruchushe. Just the opposite. Marcheshes is coming to for speech. Rashi says like rechilus, things like that. Lashon hara. Kedamrin, as people refer to speech in this term. Have a marachshes vase. His lips were mumbling, were moving. So marcheshes is referring to verbalizations. Says the Gemara. Okay, so we're sort of swinging back and forth. We're not really sure. Ella, rather, Gemara, traditional Kabbalah from his Rabbeim that in fact this is the correct definition. This is what the Torah had in mind. So Marcheshes means covered with a lid. Machvas, it means open and exposed. Rabbi Chanina ben Gamliel, he learns a bit differently. He says the Marcheshes is amuka, it's a deeper frying pan. The Chsiv, as a pasuk, refers to it as a chol nasa b'marcheshes. It's processed inside. It has an interior, as opposed to a machvas, which is a more flat surface. Tzafa the Chsiv ve'al mach, on top of the mach, so it's on it, over it. There is a very little interior to speak of. Tanur. Now, either way, we're not really 100% sure. So we know marcheshes means deeper fried, and machvas means more of a shallow fried. But let's just break it down further. The actual word, marcheshes, is it describing the actual tool, the pot, the frying pan? Or perhaps describing the process? It's a deeper fry, a more shallow fry. And what would be the difference? The Gemara will explain to us. Fine, if he says, I'm bringing a minchas machvas, then it's clear he's bringing a minchas machvas. Whatever machvas means, is it the actual frying pan or the process? Or if he says, harei b'machvas, again, either it's something which is done in a machvas or something which is processed in a machvas fashion. But he says, I'm going to bring machvas. Okay? So that really depends what machvas means. Is it the actual kli? Then forget about the mincha, he has to donate the actual kli. Is machvas describing the process? Then fine. Harei machvas means a mincha which is processed accordingly. That's going to be the shayla coming up now. Tanur Rabbanan, Misham Be'omer. He says, I'm going to bring marcheshes. What happens now? We're not sure. That money is set aside until Yonavi comes and explains to us what this term means. Taisa says that we're talking that he declared in his pledge, I'm going to do as the linguistic experts tell us. Okay? So we're not really sure what exactly it means. So you have to put it aside. Because the Chachamim are now unsure. These terms, machvas, machveshes, is it a descriptive term of the kli? Hence, in this case, when he's promising a marcheshes, he'll bring this type of frying pan and donate it to the Beis HaMikdash. Or yal shumasein. Perhaps the terms machvas and marcheshes are describing the process, the frying process. And now when he says, I'm bringing machvas, I'm bringing marcheshes, likewise, he's bringing a mincha which goes through this process, not the actual kli. So that's Beis Shammai's sort of dilemma. Beis Hillel, to them it was clear that it's actually the kli. Beis Hillel, kli hayu b'mikdash. Marcheshes shmad, it was actually a kli that was called marcheshes, and it looks like this interesting looking frying pan. V'domik mean kalbus amok. Kalbus is like a plier, it's like a clip, like a U-shaped, almost like a horseshoe. And this was a hollow horseshoe with placed inside, a deep, hollowness inside for this frying process. Kalbus amak, a deep type of frying pan. When you put place the material, the dough, so on the bottom, for some reason, it had these indentations, like these ball-shaped indentations on the floor of this frying pan. So your product will come out looking in a way like it has these balls sticking out of it on the bottom. Like these apples from kar, these gallnuts, like these roundish designs on bottom. In fact, says Beis Hillel, I'll prove to you that these terms are descriptive of the actual kli. V'chol nasa b'marcheshes v'al machvas alma shumakel nikru. Says you do it in the marcheshes, you do it on the machvas. So clearly it's the kli v'loi rather than al shumasem than the actual process. So in this case, when he promises a machvas, he's going to give a machvas to the Beis HaMikdash. Okay, so we covered machvas and marcheshes. Difference is covered or uncovered, deeper or shallow fried, and by machlokes, whether the word machvas and marcheshes is descriptive of the kli or of the process. We're not sure. According to Beis Shammai, we're not sure. Okay, now we move on to the Mafi Tanner. He promises, Harei Elai B'Tanner, we're going to bring a mincha which is baked. So that's the Mafi Tanner. Now it has to be baked in an actual oven, not in some improvised baking process. Lo yavi Mafi Kupach, he can't bring something which is baked in a kupach, which is a small mini oven which only has place for one pot. Tanner is a larger, proper oven. Lo Mafi Ra'af, nor baked on some sort of hot shingles. Mafi Yeris Aravim, or baked in some sort of big vat the Arabs use, whatever. Rabbi the Omer Ratza maybe Mafi Kupach. He says the kupach is close enough to an oven, it works. Now, we discussed that a Mafi Tanner is really comprised of two variations. You can bring chalais, you can bring rakikin. Now, typically a mincha is comprised of 10 units, 10 of whatever you're bringing. Question, can you mix and match? Can I do 5 chalais and 5 rakikin, or does it have to be 10 chalais or 10 rakikin? We have machlekes. Rabbi Harei Elai Minchas Mafi, fellow commits to Minchas Mafi, Lo yavi mechza chalais, or mechza rakikin, you can't split them up 50-50. It has to be 10 of one or the other. Shimon Aimer, you can split it up. Shimon Mater, you can mix them up. Because in the pasuk you find that the word carbon, singular, carbon, refers to both types. Apparently, they're all elements within the same package, and you can sort of mix them up. Taner Rabbanan. So back to the beginning of the Mishnah, Mafi Tanner means it has to be an actual oven. V'lei Mafi Kupach, v'lei Mafi Ra'afim, v'lei Mafi Yeros Arabi. Rabbi the Omer says no, kupach works. In fact, it says Tanner twice, Tanner to add Shnei Pam Lahachsha, to allow even a Mafi kupach. Rabbi Shimon Omer, he goes like the Tanakh, it has to be an actual oven. Tanner Shnei Pamim. So why does the Torah repeat it twice? Echad Shtei Afiyasim B'Tanner. One, to teach that it has to have an actual oven baked process. Echad Shtei Hekdeshim B'Tanner. Secondly, and this is what the Gemara thinks at this point, Shem is teaching that the actual kedusha, where the material gets upgraded, it's considered kedusha saguf, inherently kaddish, carbon material, that has to take place in the oven, which assumingly is a kli shoris, a holy vessel. And that's what the pasuk is telling us, that the kedusha takes place in the tanner. Really? That seems to be inconsistent with Rav Shimon elsewhere, who says that no, the tanner was not a kli shoris. It was just a regular oven. The kedusha didn't get activated in the oven. Umisle Rav Shimon Haisvara. Is it true that Rav Shimon holds that the tanner would activate the kedusha on the bread? Now we have a Mishnah. You should be accustomed to learning, to saying like this, that upon the breads that are required for the mikdash can be baked in the azora, ksheres ba'azora, uksheres could also be baked outside, based pagi, a place which is outside the azora. So clearly, kedusha did not happen during the baking process. Certainly, the tanner itself did not need to be kaddish. However, Shimon is merely telling us that the pasuk is teaching that tanner has to be part of the program. It has to be his intention when he's magdash the flour. He has to stipulate, I'm doing this to bake it in a proper oven. That's the part of the preparation. So now we're going to sort of go through the pasuk describing the minchas mafi tanner word by word. So the pasuk says like this: V'chisakriv karban mincha mafi tanner soilas chalois matzos belules b'shemen. So that's the first type, chalois that are mixed with oil, and then we have the second type of rukikim matzos b'shucham b'shemen. Now the pasuk begins with the word karban, which is a singular, refers to both types as one single entity. On the other end, we find sort of a split in the pasuk: soilas chalois matzos belules b'shemen, one thing, and then rukikim matzos b'shucham b'shemen, second type. Okay, Tanur Rabbanan. Chitakriv, if you should choose to do the akrava, chitakriv. It's up to you. Last is davar rishus. Look, it's a voluntary, uncoerced mincha. Okay, kabra mincha. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Menayin. What do we learn from there? Menayin lo imar elai minchas mafe. Okay, how do we know if a person gets up and says, I'm going to bring minchas maf, a baked mincha? You can't mix them up. Shlo yavi mechzer chalus, mechzer rekik. You can't do 50-50, breads and crackers. The pasuk calls it one thing. You can only do one type at a time. You can only do one type. You can't mix 2-3 different types. Just the opposite of Shimon. I'll use the same pasuk to go the other way. Does the pasuk say carbon twice? We're on Amud Beis. It only says the word carbon once. If it would say it twice, I would understand it. It's two separate, distinct packages, but it says it only once on both types. But now Rabbi Chalis, the pasuk continues and describes the two types. Mi'ata, hence, says Reb Shimon, I go the other way. Just the opposite. The Torah is teaching us you can mix them up. It's all one package. Ratza, you can decide to bring lavi chalis, all 10 chalis. Maybe, yeah. Decides to bring all 10 rikikin, maybe you can do that. Decides to do 50-50, mechza chalis, mechza rikikin, that's also an option. Maybe. Ubaylan, then he has to mix them up. Rashi explains that he would chop them up and crumble them up and then do mixing with oil and then do the kmitza. So he takes whatever he has, part chalis, part rikikin, mix them up. Ubaylun becomes mishneim, does a kmitza on both, so to speak, from the whole mix. And it doesn't really matter what he came up with. It became one package anyway. If he happens to pick out a kmitza, it so happens to be that he lands some matzahs and not it's okay. It goes on both. It's all one package. Okay, so clearly there's a machlokes. Rabbi Yehuda says you got to do 10 of each at a time. You can't mix them up. Rabbi Shimon says you can mix them up. Rabbi Yosi, the son of Rabbi Yehuda, Rida Omer, he goes with like his father. He has a different source. From where do we learn that if a person commits to minchas mafe, you can't mix them up? So you have the pasuk like this. So the pasuk sort of relates to all the menachos here. The mafe taner, then v'chol nasav marcheshes, and then Val Machvas, the Mechas Machvas that we discussed before, La Koyin, Amakriv, Oisel Esia, goes to the Koyin. Then the next pasuk has different types of Menachos. We have the one with oil, the one without oil for the Chayte, right? V'chal Mincha Belula B'Hashem, the one mixed with oil. V'charev, the one that's dry, the one for the sinner. Again, L'chol, B'nei Arantia, it's given to B'nei Aaron, to the Kohanim. So we find the term V'chol upstairs in the beginning of the pasuk, discussing the mafi taner. We have later on v'chol regarding the dry and the wet mincha, right? The one with the oil, one with the out. So we compare notes. Ma v'chol amar lamata shnei bin chaluk. Just like v'chol later on in the pasuk refers to two different distinct types, one with oil, one without, that are sort of totally separate, different types. Likewise, the term v'chol amar lamala, which is upstairs in the pasuk, referring to the mafi taner, which technically has two parts, two types. Shnei min chaluk. These are two separate, distinct entities. You can't mix them up. So he arrived at the same conclusion as his father, just from a different pasuk. No, Rav Yehuda, Shaper, Kamar Reb Shimon. Let's go back to the beginning of our discussion. Reb Shimon pointed to the lashon carbon, which leads into the two types of menachos. Sure, it starts with carbon, but it then explains to you this type and that type. Apparently, both types are covered by the word carbon. It's an umbrella term to both types. So you can mix them up. What does Rabbi Yehuda respond to that? Rabbi Yehuda Shaper, Kamar Shimon, seems to be presenting a proper argument. Amalach, so Rabbi Yehuda would respond like this. If you look closely in the pasuk, we find the word Bashemen twice. First it says Chales, Matzos, Belulis Bashemen, one type, and then it goes on Rukiki Matzos, B'Shechem Bashemen. So that split, Bashemen here, clearly indicates that these are two separate, distinct packages, not meant to be mixed with each other. Since it says Bashem twice, it's like it would say carbon twice. That's two separate, distinct, unmixable entities. Okay. Reb Shimon, he responds, no, I'll tell you why it says Bashem twice. If not, I would think just the opposite. You have to mix them up 50-50. You have to do half chalas, half rikikin, as per my inference in the pasuk. It says carbon, referring to both types. Perhaps both elements have to be present in the package. But let's say he decides to do just 10 chalas or just 10 rikikin. Can he do so? Aval chalas l'chudayu on its own, or rikikin on its own l'chudayu. Perhaps he can't even do that. It's not even an option. Kamashman comes to the pasuk and says, you know what? Don't go that extreme. Chalas b'shemen, rikikin b'shemen. After all, there are two separate things, and you can choose to bring them on their own, 10 of just chalas or of just. Okay, one more question. Rabbi Yosi, the son of Rabbi Yehuda, I know Avu, he's pretty much mirroring, he's just echoing his father's opinion. Is there any difference between the two opinions? He came from a different pasuk. Does that lead us to a different conclusion? They both seem to say the same thing. You can mix them up. There is a slight difference. All agree you shouldn't do it, but let's say he did it. So it depends. According to Rabbi Yehuda, who based his shita on the term carbon, okay, so Torah is telling us you meant to bring separately 10 of this or 10 of that. You shouldn't be mixing, but let's say he does mix it, it passes. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's based on a pasuk, which compares it to two types of menachos, the one with oil, one without, the menachas chayta. We know over there, if you mix them up, you put oil in menachas chayta, we had the Gemara earlier, right? Lo yosma le Hashem, and it makes it possible. So a mix-up in that context is critical, right? It's fatal. Likewise, when it comes to chalas and rikikin, if you mix them up, it's possible. Okay, hadron lach kol menachos. Let's just recap quickly. We have a Mishnah describing the machmas and marcheshes. We have a Mishnah describing the mafei tanur. They're meant to be done in a proper oven, according to Rida, even a kupach passes. What about combining chalas and rikikin? We have machlekes. According to some, it's okay. According to some, it's not okay. According to some, it's actually critical. Says the Mishnah, the new parak. Rabbi Shmuel Omer. Okay, we shift to Menachos Omer, which is offered on the 16th day of Nisan, made of barley. It opens the door for consumption of the new crop. Okay, Omer Yabab is Shabbos. Mishalish sin. So the Omer is comprised of an isarin, right? A certain amount of flour, of soilus, of fine flour. Any difference whether it's done on Shabbos or the weekdays? You can do it even on Shabbos. It's Deicha Shabbos, it's a public offering. Says Rabbi Shmuel, there's a difference. If it's on Shabbos, minimize the effort. Minimize malachis. So you come up, you start with a smaller amount. You're going to have to sift, you're going to have to harvest, but use a smaller amount to achieve same results. You might have to work harder, sift it a bit better, but better to be memait, just minimize the malachis and the harvesting and the cutting and all. So if it's Shabbos, b'shalosh sin, you derive the sarai, the required amount of flour, from 3 sa'ah. But if it's during the week, you can do unlimited. So you do it 5 sa'ah, which gets you a better and easier. It's easier to achieve the same result, to get the same high quality flour with less work. So b'chayil, it's 5 sa'ah. On Shabbos, the starting point is 3 sa'ah. It doesn't matter, weekday or Shabbos. Echad Shabbos v'echad chayil mishalosh hayibah. Starting point is 3 sa'ah. They hold that you can achieve the same results, whether it's 3, whether it's adequate. You don't have to add more. Rabbi Chanina is kana omer. There's another difference between Shabbos and weekday regarding the omer. But Shabbos, if it was done on Shabbos, you'd have to harvest it on Shabbos, fine. But it's done low key. B'yachad, 1 cutter, b'magal echad, using 1 sickle, b'kuba'achas, 1 container. U'b'chol, during the weekdays, it was made into a national event. Rashi says, in order to undo the opinion of the Baisusim, the Tzdukim, who gave him trouble, they insisted that the omer has to be done on a Sunday only. So in order to counter that erroneous position, they would publicize it, and everybody would know about it, and this way it would become established as the proper practice. So during the weekdays, it was a whole event. There were 3 men involved in harvesting, b'shalosh kupos, b'shalosh maglis, 3 containers, 3 sickles. They hold that even on Shabbos, you have the same event, echad Shabbos v'echad chayil, b'shloisha, 3 individuals doing it, b'shalosh kupos, b'shalosh maglis. Okay, let's go back to the first item in the Mishnah. What's the starting point? Chacham say 3 sa'ah, which gets you the Yisarain as required. So Bishlam and Rabbanan, I understand the Rabbanan, because however they hold, Yisarain mufchar b'shleisha senasi, or mishleisha senasi. You can get a proper Yisarain, a high quality, flour, from sifting 3 sa'ah. So it doesn't really matter if it's Tuesday or Shabbos. You do use the same ratio, the same proportion, Leishna b'chav, Leishna b'Shabbos. So we don't differentiate. Rabbi Shmuel, like a Sava. But how do we understand Rabbi Shmuel? If he holds Isaran Mufchar, to get a proper, high quality Isaran, you need 5 to start. Then why would you cut corners on Shabbos? The point is to get a proper carbon, which is allowed on Shabbos. If you can actually produce the same result from using less, from just 3 sa'ah, as you see he's insisting on Shabbos, you go down to 3 then do the same during the weekday. Why would you want to add more work? Amar Rava. Here's the answer. Because Rabbi Shmuel he holds. True. We're going to get to the same result. It depends how much work do you want to do? How much sifting are you going to have to do? So a proper, high quality Yisrael, without extraneous effort, you can get that from 5 sa'ah. You start with a large amount, so it's easy just to get the best easily and move on. But with more investment, with more tircha, you can get it from just 3. You're going to work harder. So during the weekdays, why work? My sinan mechamash. Get just do the standard, do 5, which gets you the best results, right? Do a little sift, and you get the high quality flakes, right? But on Shabbos, we want to try to minimize the malachos, the harvesting and all that. So we sort of restrict it. Shabbos, mutav sheyar b'melacha achas. On Shabbos, we prefer that he increases in one malacha, which is sifting. He sifts longer and more, barakada in the sifting process. Val yar b'melacha is harbe, as opposed to increasing the amount of malachos. Because if he's going to do more grain, he's going to do more ktsira, right? More harvesting, more winnowing, more all that, more grinding, right? So he says better start with a small amount, work harder, do more sifting, which is an increase in the malacha achas, rather than going to a larger amount, which inevitably involves malacha is harbe. Okay, interesting machlekes. So again, we have this machlekes regarding how much do you start off with to get the Yissarim. According to Rabbanan, standard 3 so, whether it's weekday or Shabbos, they hold that you can get the proper results. According to Shmuel, it's better to start with 5. But on Shabbos, we remind the Malacha is harbe, hence, Shalos in, and you work harder to get yourself the Yissarim for the Minchas Haymer. Okay, we'll pick it up Bez Hashem tomorrow. All the best to you, and Hatzlacha Rabbah.